items level up with the item.
Well,
I mean, it currently does, right?
It does.
It does.
And
But something that could be interesting is that if you find a life spring on a level 80 character, it can scale up to that level, so it would scale with your character. That would make it feel really good as a leveling item, for example. That you can use it at level 1, you hit level 3.
I really don't like that kind of thing, the whole like item that just scales with your character. Like, I don't think that we want to move in a direction where you'll have less times when you put items on your character as you level up. Like, that doesn't feel like the right direction to me.
But there's also more whether, and there's a second part to that, which is whether or not life sprig should even have high level requirements ever, which is a more that's come up a bit.
That's
more,
a separate question. That yeah, that's come up. I'm kind of not quite sure about that one at the moment.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be more discussion.
I mean, so one thing that was proposed and as a potential solution to this is that just the, like, I feel like maybe you didn't like this. Well, I can't remember who didn't like this. Someone didn't like this. Because I proposed that we make it so that the implicit skill on uniques has like a cap level, but then that does level up as you go through the game. Like it's not that it levels up, it's that like it is capped to the level of where you are.
Yeah.
So that way, even if you get a level 80 life sprig, you can still equip it at low levels, and then and then that will go with you effectively. And somehow I see that as different from like your items changing as you level up. That to me, that's not like quite the same thing. So like that would potentially be an option. I don't remember why there was some reason why we didn't do that, but like it might still be on the cards.
That's fair.
Wait, so you're saying what? You're saying if you find it at level 80?
I'm saying if you find it at level 80. 16 skill, but you can still equip it. It doesn't change the level requirement, but then the skill gets down leveled to the maximum that it can be for the.
Oh sure,
Yeah,
I thought that's what he's proposed just a second ago, but
no, he's talking about the explicit scaling.
No, there's a second thing there.
The second one was that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, maybe I misunderstood then. Okay, right. So in that case, then sure. Like,
I mean, I would personally prefer to just be like, you can drop a low-level life sprig and that's you use a low-level.
Yeah, but I don't love that either, honestly.
But I don't hate that.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that also kind of liked the idea that there were some uniques that were more valuable to find at lower levels, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I don't know whether players actually like that or not, so that's just kind of like a random other thing.
That's fair.
But
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I was just curious, because we do find them a lot. Another question is about the minion resurrect timer. It keeps resetting like the entire timer every time a monster dies. And that can feel very frustrating. So I wondered, how do you feel about that? That the entire timer resets?
Well, if you don't have that, it feels a lot more frustrating. Let me tell you. Like that was how it was until we changed it, and like it was so bad. Because what happens is that like the monsters, that your minions just die one at a time, and then they can never really accomplish anything, and it's just like trust me, that was a buff, that change. Like that was a massive improvement. So yeah, like until you experience it the other way, you will understand if you play it the other way. There really
might be an intermediary there. I want to explore some options.
Well, it's
for
also...
example, like instead of resetting the entire timer, it adds to the timer based on like the cost of the minion or something like that. We might be able to do something like that.
But I don't know. But that's not going to fix the fundamental issue, which is that minions work best when there's lots of minions. And so the issue that we had is that you just get into a situation where they just trickle in and die one at a time.
No matter what, they have to revive all at the same time.
That has to happen, yes.
I'm just saying it could be that, like, okay, let's say everyone's dead but one.
Right. So it increases a bit, but not as much.
And so instead of like, all about to revive except for one, he died. And now
that's
6 seconds again.
that actually is viable, and that maybe is a change we could make.
And like, would you ever be open to adding a keystone that changes the behavior?
I was actually thinking about that earlier today, and I mostly, the troll in me was like, we should do this just so the players can see how bad it is.
Yeah.
But that was probably a negative thought I shouldn't be having.
No, that's fair. I mean, I think a lot of people would like to see it.
Sure. I think the thing Mark just said is much more reasonable, and so we should probably do something more with that. Yeah.
Convocation, is that something on the table? It's like maybe a spirit skill or something?
I don't love it.
That's fair.
I don't love it.
I'm kind of like, I could see a world where reservation cooldown, or you have to earn it, or something like that.
to go in, it would have to be different enough that players probably wouldn't see it as convocation anymore. Like, I suspect that's kind of the reality. Like, yeah, like as Mark said, you'd have to add some kind of conditions, or you'd have to do something, and it's like, at that point, it's not even doing the thing the players want it for anyway, so it's like, you know, like...
That being said, it might still just be better, and there might be some room for it.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I don't love it.
I know.
Like, I would much rather find a better solution to that issue.
Okay. When it comes to map completion, obviously there's been some changes this patch, but one thing that easily feels the worst is when there is one monster just like really far away, and the checkpoint system doesn't really cut it there. Would you consider making the completion of a map be like 90% of the rares instead of 100? Because the bad feeling is very often tied to just one monster, the other side of the map, and I have to like do so much backtracking.
Sure. Well, I want to solve this problem. I don't know that that's the answer, but I understand the issue. Like, there's been a few
we
different
straight up discussed last night that like just having the minimap icons on.
There was a discussion of
That'd be
icons
good.
on all the time, right? Because you're not gonna miss the monsters if you see them.
The main reason for that is like the current way it works is that it's like when 200 remaining they appear, and on some maps that's like you kill 3 packs and they appear, and other maps it's like you got to clear 80% of it before they appear, and honestly that's kind of weird and bad anyway.
Yeah.
It's just that we kind of want to, like, the main thing we're worried about with that change is the whole you just play on the minimap, like you're not even looking into the game.
But I think that fear.
I'm very in favor of that.
Well,
I love that
like,
change.
like, do we just turn off?
Yeah, literally just showing from the start. Like I love that initially for sure. At least for me.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you said you loved the idea of not looking at the game and only playing off the minimap.
I kind of do that anyway.
One of the like when we were trying to find that NVIDIA crash, the one of our developers like tried playing with just the graphics turned off, like they just had the minimap, and they played literally to the end of Act 2 with just no graphics, and they're like, and the funny thing was like, what the hell? How did you even manage to get through 2 acts like that? And he's like, oh, Huntress OP. I was like, okay, like this is so it is actually possible to play entirely with the minimap, no graphics at all, apparently.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's fun. No, I would love that.
Yeah. I want to change that imminently. The thing with the 90% thing you're suggesting, by the way, there is like, let's say the map only has 3 rares. Is it just 2 out of 3?
Sure.
Does it like round down? Does it round up? If there's only 2 rares, is it literally just one?
Just enable seeing the rares on the map.
I agree.
It's probably
I like
better
that.
just to do
I agree.
I like that. Another quick question about Delirium. It seems very fast. Obviously, we're a bit slower now. Any thoughts on Delirium speed?
I very specifically made a number of builds and tested them just before this 020 release, and I was actually surprised how well I was doing. And I was like, okay, like I thought this was a big problem, and I was like, I'll just actually go and actually test it myself. So it could be like, okay, here's I'd like to know a bit more here, I guess, which is like, is it certain maps over others?
Yeah,
Because
100%. Like, because it
Okay,
still
so
expands like
there's
a
a
donut,
good-
right?
Yeah, which we do, and we do kind of have to balance it around probably the bottom. Maybe it's, yeah, sure. There's probably a point where it's balanced around an assumption of like being more acceptable maps instead of the worst ones, and so I just need to shift that assumption and then change it. But yeah, I did specifically personally test this on a number of characters pre-020, and I was actually I was like, I expected it to be way worse than it was. That being said, I wasn't using like a massive range of maps for testing that. I was like, you know, probably 5 or 6 different things on many different characters. So, yeah, sure. I will look at that as well. I'll add it to the today list.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big day.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys doing this. So obviously PoE, you're not necessarily tied to like the warrior being melee, right? Like right now I'm playing artillery ballista. Would it be possible to implement some sort of favorite system that I can just tick like artillery ballista with a little heart on it, so then when I go to like level up those gems, I don't have to in the bottom left search artillery ballista and tick the...
I would suggest just having a tab for equipped gems would be the way to do that.
Yeah.
Like you just have a tab that just shows you the equipped gems, you just click on
Perfect.
and you level up that way.
Yeah, so all the classes, then
then
my
the- yeah.
gems, and then all gems is probably what it should be,
Another question, the Smith's Hammer ability. I was